Our next guest is ready to go, and we're talking about Bitcoin life insurance. A startup called Meanwhile has raised $19 million in funding. Our first guest is Meanwhile co-founder and CEO Zachary Townsend. Welcome, Zach.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks for being here. All right, why don't you start off by telling us about the vision behind Meanwhile? What's the vision that you raised this $19 million on?
Well, look, the long-term vision is to build the world's largest life insurance company. How we're doing that is we are combining first, building a Bitcoin-denominated company. So when we look out 10, 20, 30 years, what we see is that there is going to be a huge global economy built on Bitcoin. And we are building the life insurance company for that economy. At the same time, we are riding the wave of artificial intelligence, which allows us to build all of our operations from scratch, our own policy admin system, our own claim system, our own underwriting system, which allows us to be a lot more operationally effective, a lot faster at giving decisions to our users, have a lot fewer people. And it's those combinations, that combination of building for an entire new economic system and using AI that allows us to, again, we hope build the world's largest life insurance company. So,
okay, when I think about life insurance, I usually think that they put the money in something pretty not volatile, and that they pay out in dollars, and that's so that my kids or whoever I decide to give the money to, that they have something set amount. How is this working? Is it like you go, okay, we're going to pay you out in Bitcoin? I mean, I don't know. I think I need life insurance whenever I trade crypto. So I sort of like trying to figure out here, how does it work?
So let me start by describing Bitcoin. How our Yes, exactly. So our entire company is denominated in Bitcoin. We take all our premiums in Bitcoin. We pay out all our claims in Bitcoin. We do all our reserving calculations, all our regulatory math, all our finances in Bitcoin. We state our financials in Bitcoin. And what that allows us to do is not worry about day-to-day volatility. Because you give us Bitcoin, we promise you Bitcoin back. If the price of Bitcoin's 28,000, as you said earlier, or it's 35,000, or it's 15,000, it doesn't matter to us. We're looking out 10, 20, 30, 40 years, and our belief is that Bitcoin is going to be worth a lot more than it is worth today, and we think a lot of our users agree with that.
So how are you doing the actuarial stuff here? Because it kind of gets funky, because of course trying to put a lifetime value on an individual based on age. I mean, I assume whoever's going to do this, they're pretty young, and the probabilities of them biting the bullet or eating dust or whatever you want to say is pretty low.
Yes. Well, let me start by saying, yes, we have actuaries on our team. We have consulting actuaries. We do exactly what you're saying. When someone applies, we underwrite them. We look at how healthy they are. We make a projection about how long they're going to live, and then we make a promise to them about what their payout could be. So how the policy works is it's called a whole life policy. It lasts your whole life. So you might pay in 1 Bitcoin a year for 10 years. So it's what's called limited pay. So or you can pay up front. So you could pay 10 Bitcoin today. And then we promise you 25 whenever you die. And that ratio, that promise we're making you, is definitely based on your age. It's definitely based on how healthy you are. And we do standard actuarial work.
So wait. So you pay in up to 10, you guarantee 25 out.
Well, earn's an interesting word, but yes, whenever you die, you get whatever we promise you.
Right, but
10
I'm saying
to 25 would be a pretty normal ratio for someone who's healthy in their mid-30s, as you mentioned.
But then how do you get that extra Bitcoin in return? Because of course, it's like you haven't. It's not like they're printing Bitcoin beyond what they're mining. No. So I mean, that's the whole point. So I mean, when I'm just trying to figure out how you're paying 2.5 to 1 on something that's, like you pay in.
Yes,
In
well,
other
to
words,
your
you
point-
have to earn Bitcoin to pay it back.
Correct. So we make Bitcoin-denominated investments, and we make a promise to. Well, let me just take a step back and say our ultimate goal is we believe that Bitcoin is going to transform from being digital gold into being digital money, and money is active. We believe there's going to be active capital markets, that there's going to be an entire economy built on Bitcoin, and what that means is that there's going to be yield in Bitcoin that's accessible. What we do right now is we make loans to creditworthy institutional counterparties to get yield in our Bitcoin. The difference between us and many of the people who do lending in the past is, we're not making promises to people that they'll get their money back today. We don't have liquidity issues. We're very conservative. We're very well regulated. We have an investment policy. We have an independent board. We have an investment committee. And all of that is set up to make very conservative investments. And we do term loans. And the advantage we have against anyone else in the market, and something that we are helping to create in Bitcoin, is longer term lending. So we're looking to lend to people at conservative rates at 3, 4, 5 year durations, and that's how we get yield.
You mentioned that your customer is a Bitcoin whale. That's who you're looking at right now as people who are going to buy into these plans. How many people do you have committed to using this product? It doesn't feel like there are that many Bitcoin whales out there who are looking for a life insurance policy to participate in.
Yeah. So we've sold, well, first off, let me just say the ultimate vision of the company is that we believe that many millions, hundreds of millions, billions of people are going to be part of the Bitcoin economy. And if you're in a country that has inflation risk or currency risk or regime risk, we think it makes a lot of sense for those people to buy a life insurance policy in a digital global currency that has nothing to do with their local economy. Right now, so we have started, and just the numbers I threw out, right, are pretty big, in designing a product that's optimized for crypto whales. And one of the reasons that is life insurance it's both a way to protect your family, and it's a way to do financial planning. It's a way to do estate planning. It's a way to do some tax optimization. There are real tax privileges and tax advantages to life insurance in the U.S. tax code and the tax code of almost every developed economy in the world. So if you're a crypto whale, you're planning to hold or hodl for a long time anyway, doing that inside a life insurance policy can be very smart, very tax advantaged.
What are the I'm sorry, what's the minimum that someone pays in per year?
Right now, our minimum is total premiums of 5 paid over 10 years. So that'd be half a Bitcoin. So you have to be pretty substantial. You don't have to have a stack of 2,000, but you don't have to. You don't have to be. You also can't be a person with a tenth of a Bitcoin.
It's like $1,200 a month. Yeah.
And how many people do you have committed to using the product?
Sorry, my apologies. We got licensed the end of last year. We bound our first policy actually just a couple of weeks ago. That's part of this announcement. Is we both raised $19 million and we, have launched. We have. Well, this week it's changed, right? Because we launched and we had a lot of people sign up to the wait list. So it sort of depends what you mean by committed. I'd say there's dozens of people committed, and there's a longer list of people who have signed up this week who we need to reach out to, talk to them about underwriting, do all the actuarial work that was mentioned earlier.
So you said that you lend out Bitcoin and receive the returns in Bitcoin. There's a guy named Gary Gensler who's kind of like he's not a fan of lending, especially crypto. What kind of licensing would you have to have, and like what kind of insurance policy do your premium holders have in case all of a sudden Mr. Gensler wakes up one day and says, you know what? Life insurance is a security. I don't want to have this done. And even though Bitcoin is a commodity, they're selling a security, I don't like this. What do you do? What kind of insurance do your holders have?
First off, let me start by saying we are regulated in Bermuda, which is a quite legit, it's the insurance capital of the world. They're trying to do more crypto. Premier Burt, the Bermuda Monetary Authority, have worked with us really closely to get regulated. It's actually the jurisdiction that Coinbase is putting their offshore operations in, and we're incredibly well supervised by them. And we, live offshore, but are open to Americans and to others globally in buying our policies. What I will say about Mr. Gensler is that the SEC does not have jurisdiction over insurance products. They do have jurisdiction over insurance products when you give people separately managed accounts and let them make choices about the securities to put in their policy. But we have designed our products from the start to be entirely Bitcoin denominated, to have them live on our balance sheet in what's called our general ledger. And it actually makes it quite remote from a regulatory standpoint from the SEC. But we are, unlike some others, we made a choice to be well regulated from the beginning, to have a really close relationship with our regulators. Every month we're talking to them, they're looking to make sure that our customer funds are not commingled with our corporate funds, to make sure that we have an independent board, to make sure that we, have a risk committee, that we have policies. We're running a legit insurance company that just happens to be denominated in Bitcoin. And we have done that exactly because we do not want to have the kind of surprises that some others in this space have had, and to make sure that we're, legit from the beginning.
Let's talk about the AI angle. OpenAI CEO Sam Altman has participated in this $19 million funding round. There's some AI underwriting happening here. How does AI introduce itself into your business, and how do you see it kind of working in the future?
Perfect. Yeah, so we're really happy to have Sam. We also have Gradient, who is like Google's AI fund. And these are two of the sort of best AI investors, I think, in the market right now. We're really happy to have them both. So, AI is a big part of what we're doing. And just to be honest, like, we're a 6-person company, and we have all the operations of a full life insurance company. And the only way we're able to do that is that we have really gone out of our way to automate our underwriting process, to automate our claims process, to automate our reserves process. And that is every day, using, cutting edge AI to make that work. And our long-term ambition is, as I mentioned, to serve people, hundreds of million people around the globe. If not, a billion, we would love to have a billion users, the biggest life insurance company ever. And to do that in a sustainable, scalable way, we're starting by building our systems from day one to leverage artificial intelligence to manage that sort of scale.
Yeah, it sounds like a lot needs to happen before you can get the billion users, right? AI needs to actually become artificial intelligence. We need to understand what's happening with crypto, with Bitcoin, with regulation, especially when you're offering a product to American citizens. How long do you think it's going to be until you get to those billion users?
Yeah. Well, probably decades. But the nice thing about running a life insurance company is that's what we think in. I don't think about the price of Bitcoin today. I think about what is the crypto economy going to look at like in a decade, in 2 decades, and 3 decades. That's how we want our users to think. That's how we think. And when we look out that far, we think there's no question that there's going to be a billion people in this world who are using Bitcoin.
All right, Zach, we're going to have to leave it there. Thank you very much for joining us this morning.
Thank you. Happy to be here.
That was Meanwhile CEO Zachary Townsend.